I don't think gold takes off and silver does nothing. That's not a credible scenario to me yet. There's enough us and others out there who get that silver is money, that it can't just be left completely behind. But we are a minority. We need to understand we're not the mainstream. I'm sorry, my fellow silver bucks. We're not the mainstream, and you know it. So those other guys setting the prices, or gals, right? We saw this in 2020 when gold and silver both fell off the cliff. And then gold picks itself right back up again, and silver just went sideways for a year almost. We could see something like that again. I'm convinced gold is going to new all-time highs, nominally at least, eventually in real terms. But in the more near investment future, I think at least nominal all-time highs.
Since March 2023, gold prices have experienced a modest increase of approximately 5%, while silver prices have seen a more substantial rise of around 20% since their March lows. Lobo Tiggre, the founder and CEO of Lewis James LLC, points out that he doesn't anticipate a scenario where gold outperforms significantly while silver remains relatively stable. This observation may not align with the expectations of those who regard silver as a historically valuable form of money. Lobo highlighted a crucial period in 2020 when gold and silver faced a notable decline in value. However, their subsequent trajectories diverged significantly. Gold rebounded, whereas silver remained relatively flat for an extended period. This divergence suggests that silver's behavior resembles industrial metals like copper more than it mirrors gold's movements. Concerning the impending recession, Lobo has opted not to invest in industrial metals such as copper or lithium. He anticipates an upcoming recession which has yet to witness widespread recognition among those who deny its occurrence. According to a widely discussed recession indicator on Wall Street, the long-awaited economic downturn appears imminent. This looming recession will have a detrimental impact on industrial metals. Instead of investing in industrial metals, Lobo focuses on gold and uranium. He sees these assets as excellent choices in the current economic landscape. Gold extended its decline for a third consecutive on Thursday, weighed by the surge in the US dollar and US bond yields after the Federal Reserve hardened its hawkish posture on interest rates. Despite recognizing a short-term bearish trend for gold due to reverse base effects and lower demand for safe haven assets, Lobo strongly believes that gold will eventually achieve record highs. Therefore, he considers any possible drops in gold prices as favorable buying opportunities for investors. Now, let's watch the excerpts from Lobo Tiggre's interview with Liberty and Finance. But before we do, if you want more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more updates. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
Silver has been acting much more like an industrial metal this year. And you can see it on the intraday charts and the daily charts. Like overall, it's following gold, but the gold-silver ratio, as we all lamentably know, is not going where we want it to go. And that's because if you watch it on a shorter-term basis, the silver chart looks much more like the copper chart than the gold chart. You and I and our audience may understand that silver, is money, has been for thousands of years. It is the word for money in so many languages. Yes, we get all that. But those guys on the COMEX who trade futures, whose prices decisions we mistakenly refer to as the price of silver, they don't care about any of that. It's just another metal, and it goes in solar panels, and it's an industrial metal. It's no different from pork bellies or copper. And you'll see it on the charts wiggling just like copper. And that says that we need to be cautious about assuming that silver will track gold very closely. How am I dealing with this uncertainty? Is I'm not buying any industrial metals at all. No copper, no lithium, ahead of what I see as recession denial giving away. We haven't seen capitulation yet amongst the recession deniers. That's the key point I'm expecting probably by the end of this year. And I think that whacks all your industrial metals, no copper, no lithium. Silver, I don't know. It could join that crowd. It also means no oil. So yes, I have missed out on this rally up to 90 plus oil. If it goes to $100, well, I won't entirely miss out because I didn't sell all my oil and gas positions. But I have not been allocating more in that direction because I see this recession coming. And I still wouldn't do that because, this thing that might break, it could be hitting the news tomorrow. We don't know. And I don't want to be long anything industrial when that happens. So that leaves gold and uranium. And I think gold, it's been several months since you and I spoke, and I'm not sure that I said this the last time we did, but in the last few months over the summer, I turned near-term bearish on gold because it was obvious that the reverse base effects were helping team soft landing, and the two factors I just mentioned, higher for longer and less fear, less safe haven demand, we're going to be bearish for gold until I'm right about the recession. That's still the case now. So, if the Fed starts easing up or talking more dovish than I expect, that would be great for gold. But if not, I think we're still, unfortunately, looking at headwinds in the gold space for the nearest term. And I mean, just the next few weeks even, which, I know long-suffering gold bugs, they don't want another buying opportunity. They're done with buying opportunities. They want payday. I get it. I know. But, we can't tell Mr. Market what to do. And for what it's worth, though, I think if we do get another buying opportunity in weeks ahead, I mean, we already have a lot of cheap, I think, quality gold stocks that are still on sale quite cheap. But if they get cheaper in the weeks ahead, that would not be a bearish signal to me. I wouldn't be frightened. I would absolutely see that as a gift. I remain convinced about the thesis you and I have described. So I'm convinced gold is going to new all-time highs, nominally at least, eventually in real terms. But in the more near investment future, I think at least nominal all-time highs.
The recent BRICS summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, brought attention to the issue of de-dollarization in the global economy. Although not an official agenda item, several world leaders, including Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, highlighted the need to reduce the dominance of the US dollar in trade and financial transactions among countries in the global south. Some even suggested the creation of a new common currency for the BRICS group. The U.S. share of global GDP stands at around 1/4, while the country's share in global trade in commodities and commercial services is lower, at about 10%. In this light, the U.S. dollar's outsized role in global trade, reserves, and currency exchange that extends far past its country of origin becomes apparent. Due to the United States' importance in global capital markets and international debt, the dollar continues to play a significant role internationally, Reuters reports. Lobo emphasizes that de-dollarization is a gradual and ongoing process, with the proportion of reserves held in dollars slowly decreasing over time. Tiggre notes that despite discussions and headlines about the potential introduction of a gold-backed currency, there was no discernible effect on the prices of precious metals, such as gold. This underscores the idea that geopolitical discussions of this nature currently have limited influence on metal prices. Let's get back to the interview.
I did say that it was unlikely that a BRICS, gold-backed or any currency was going to happen. And so, yeah, that was right. The odds played out in my favor on this one. But don't go giving me a crystal ball or anything. I don't claim to know the future. But yeah, I mean, we don't need to beat this to death. I think that there are people, including my good friend in Puerto Rican, Brent Johnson, who downplay the de-dollarization trend. And I understand why it takes a lot to dethrone a king so powerfully entrenched. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. And every year you see that the balance of reserves held in dollars falls. So in my view, the de-dollarization trend, it's not a question. It's not even really an if or when question. It's a happening question, but it's one that lends itself to a lot of hyperbole. And people writing exciting copy to sell newsletters about, you're going to buy gold now because this, that, or the other, right? If it's a train wreck, it's one of those slow motion train wrecks. This will take years at best. And as you can see, they didn't even announce a currency. But, they talk more about settling, trade between themselves without using the dollar. And so it's a process in motion. And at some point, there'll be a tipping point where that really starts causing problems in the United States. But I don't know when that will be. I don't think anybody knows when that will be. And I think, instead of getting angry at the dollar milkshake guy and others for being skeptical about this, I think it makes sense to listen to them and consider where and how they might be right, especially after how many, embarrassing issuances there were of proclamations of the gold BRICS currency that was going to come out on August 25th or whatever the date was, right? Let's have a little humble pie here and think about this. Long story short, this matters, but it makes no difference to my investment decisions today. In time, it will be much more important, particularly as a commodity speculator. This isn't going to change the price of copper anytime, or even gold as a monetary metal, as the premier monetary metal. And maybe even if I put my Darth Silver hat on, possibly the only monetary metal left standing. You could see all those headlines that drove my fellow gold bugs nuts about the coming BRICS conference. There was zero impact on the gold-dollar exchange ratio, which I like to call it instead of the price of gold, because gold is money. Right? So just like you have a euro-dollar exchange ratio, I see a gold-dollar exchange ratio. No impact whatsoever. Even when Russia said that, that the BRICS currency was on the agenda and there was going to be gold-backed BRICS currency, of course, Russia's throwing intellectual firebombs into the conversation. They have an incentive to do that. But even that headline had no impact on the gold-dollar exchange ratio at all. So, whatever we might say ideologically, what we'd like to believe or hope to believe, or as gold bugs want to believe, just look at the data. The data is this story has zero impact on the metals that underlie most of my speculations.
Gold and silver prices may experience an upward trajectory in the near future if there's a shift in interest rate expectations towards a more dovish stance driven by confidence in current economic conditions. What are your thoughts on the potential role of gold and silver in your investment strategy? Share your observations in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.